What I mean by encourage dissent is open that floor a bit more and tell people what I am looking for is disagreement here. I told you I was a full-time business school professor. This is where I learned this lesson. I learned a lot about MBAs in my time there, and well, actually most of it I can't share. But I learned a lot about MBAs, and one of the things I learned is that MBAs express dissent in the form of a question. There's like a power distance. They don't feel comfortable just outright saying, you're full of crap. So they ask a question. Are you full of crap? No, it's not that simple. But they ask a question. And I wasn't doing a good enough job creating space for questions. I would lecture for 55 minutes in a 60-minute session, and then at the very end I'd go, okay, as everyone's packing up their bags, I go, okay, any questions? And of course there would be no questions. And then people would come to my office afterwards and ask me all sorts of questions, because there were always questions. I just wasn't creating enough psychological safety in the classroom. So I flipped it. I changed my lectures so I'd always be done in about 45 minutes. So they knew, no, we're not packing up yet. There's still 15 minutes left of class. And I would say, okay, we've talked about this theory, and this theory, and this theory. I made a lot of rabbit jokes. I told you when you're supposed to take notes and take pictures of slides and when you're not. I do all sorts of crazy stuff like that, and I speak a little too fast. Sometimes I make jokes that don't land. Sometimes they do, and then it distracts the whole class. So I know I was probably unclear about something we talked about today, or I know I probably sped too fast through a concept about something we talked about today. So what questions do you have for me? You see the difference? Any questions versus what questions do you have for me? And then I was comfortable waiting the 15, 30 seconds it took for people to realize I was serious. When I got out of business school and went back into the business world, I did the exact same thing. Instead of questions, concerns, clarifications, it was, okay, you know what? It sounds like we're all headed down this avenue, but I want to check in just before we do. Because I have my own knowledge, skills, and abilities. I have my own background. I have my own experiences, which means I have my own biases, which means I have my own blind spots. So what am I missing? Can you help me find what I'm missing? And immediately we'd get a much more robust discussion than we would when I would just say questions, concerns, clarifications. That's what I mean when I say encourage dissent.